Another internet company in the mix in our region is Mainstream Fiber Networks. We're joined by Mike Wilson. He's the Senior Director of External Affairs for Mainstream. Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me.
Absolutely, great to see you. What are some of the service areas right now that you're serving across the state?
So mostly we're in, I would say, of the 13 counties that we operate in, Southwest, we probably see a lot of activity happening right now in Gibson, Pike, Posey, and Warwick counties are our big counties in this area.
And are you particularly focused on a certain, demographic, geographic county, particularly the rural counties, I'm thinking, or what are you really focused on? Does it depend?
Yeah, so our focus is unserved and underserved residents. So those would be people in outlying areas. So yes, we do connect a lot of towns, but the outlying areas are the things that we've really focused on and always have since the founding of our company about 10 years ago plus. So when we started in Brown County, Indiana. So we're all good Hoosiers and just trying to really fill that need that helps these unserved and underserved residents get connected.
Walk me through the importance of broadband, right? Most of us, walk around and perhaps have a laptop or a phone or another electronic device. Why is broadband still so important and perhaps still relevant in 2025?
Yeah, and will continue to be so as well, because I think one of the things that we're seeing, so let's look at Warwick County, for example, right? A lot of suburban type areas, a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of residential and businesses as well. But we're seeing in that community, we're seeing devices grow within people's households. So where people would only have maybe 5 to 10 devices before, now you've got dishwashers, washing machines, your garage door openers, cameras on your house, doorbells, different light bulbs even in your house can all be connected to the network. Not to even mention if you've got kids, and then you've got gaming, and then you've got e-learning. So there's a lot to it. And so the appetite continues to grow. So I would say for a primary example from the residential aspect, you're seeing the growth within the home. And I would say when you look at rural communities, you've got a total lack of connectivity in some cases for just some very basic needs. Telemedicine, e-learning, another thing that a lot of residents were struggling to get. But then of course there's just having that basic connectivity of, can I talk to my relatives from, farther away, or can I have these conversations, or can I play video games with my brother who lives, across the state, or whatever. So there's a lot of different uses for this. And so there's a pragmatic impact, and then there's an emotional impact as well. And I think one of the things that we do very well is understand the entirety of that situation and are able to package things up for our customers for both business and residential.
And I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper too on that emotional impact, something a lot of people perhaps don't necessarily think about when it comes to broadband. How could this really go a little bit deeper, and impact perhaps individuals' livelihoods or their overall sense of well-being?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times I talk to our tech ops team quite often, and these are the people that are installing in people's homes. And they have some incredible stories of people being able, there was actually a story just about a month ago or so that one of our techs was conveying to me. And he said, yeah, I actually got a hug today from a woman who hadn't been able to talk to her daughter face to face in a long time. We gave her service, and she was actually able to pull her daughter up on her television and cast it to her TV and have a discussion with her daughter on her smart TV, which she'd never been able to do before. Tears streaming down her face, and she was just so happy. So you see that, and you can't help but be energized by it when you're out there in a rural environment and you see the impact it has on people. Again, not just on finances and being able to keep track of things and all the important things that we do for business and work, but also the emotional aspect of what it means for the heart in these rural communities.
Right, and it's something oftentimes people just don't think about. When you hear broadband, we're not thinking about, right, the mom that's able to see her daughter now, or the student that's now able to access materials online and learn that way. So I appreciate you sharing that. I'm curious too, and I know you have so many different projects going on. We talk about a timeline, but generally speaking, depending on the project, is there like a specific timeline that it would take you to do, let's say, one neighborhood at a time, or is it not that definite, perhaps.
Right. It's not because there's a lot in the process, right? So is like in this area, there's a lot of trees. There's a lot of bedrock that we could find too. So all of these things, if there's railroad tracks that we have to cross, that's another issue that we might have to try and get a permit for, and then it takes a long time sometimes. So there's different things that we have to work around with different projects, and so it's hard to pinpoint a time to say this is how long it takes from this point to that, from construction to completion. But what I would say is right now, currently, we do have projects that we're wrapping up in Posey County, for example, and the commissioners in Posey County have been incredibly helpful and super dedicated to serving the unserved and underserved there. So they're helping us to identify areas that maybe they need some connectivity here, and we can get those projects moving and greenlit. And I'd say a lot of it also does have to do with that partnership. When you're working with the county commissioners and you're working with these elected officials, and those elected officials are very much in tune with what's happening with the telecommunications business, with building tech infrastructure, it's going to be so much better for the community because the build is just a more thoughtful one. It's our engineers working with their engineers to really find some good solutions for people and maybe even reach more areas because we're working so closely together.
What do you tell people at home watching right now who might still be struggling with that access? They're maybe watching us on their television. Who do they reach out to? Like, is it their elected officials? Is it your company? What are their steps to take?
So and that all depends on the footprint because there have been some very successful programs in Indiana. Next Level Connections, started by Governor Eric Holcomb and Congresswoman Houchin, who was a state senator at the time, actually working on that legislation as well. She's been incredibly helpful and tuned in with broadband and the issues there, and has been for a long time. Moving that forward, what we end up seeing is a very aggressive form of growth with these programs because we were able to find NLC partnerships and then start working around in some of those areas that were nearby maybe, but then couldn't get service. Now there's a new federal program called BEAD, which is about to be released. So this is a rural broadband initiative that's federally funded, so it's unlike Next Level Connections. So the dollars come from the federal government, but the state is still identifying the parameters around that program. And so that we should have some information on that very soon. Great. In terms of where this rural broadband funding will end up, where it goes and who it ends up going to.
Great. We will stay tuned. Always great to hear your insight and expertise. Mike Wilson, the Senior Director of External Affairs for Mainstream. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.